Hello everybody, today we're going to be trying out these new Sharpie Creative markers that I picked up at Walmart. I also found some fine liner pens that I wanted to try out as well in addition to the creative markers. So these are acrylic paint pens, so I'd probably compare them to Posca markers. However, unlike Posca markers, you don't have to prime these before you have to use them. They also have brush nib ones as well as these bullet nib ones. I didn't realize they had the brush nib ones until I got home and was looking up the Sharpie Creative markers online. They didn't have the brush nibs at the Walmart that I got these at. So for this drawing today, I'm going to be using the Sharpie acrylic markers. I will also be shading and using some other media as well. I'm swatching the colors right now, and they don't really bleed. So like if you let one color dry and you put the next color on top, it will opaquely cover the underneath color, which is kind of nice. So these are the fine liners that I also picked up. I believe I picked these ones up at Staples, or they could have been at Walmart. I don't remember now. It's been a little bit since I picked these up. I thought they were really cool, like vibrant colors. So I really like how the color of the marker isn't like the color of the nib, and like only like a little bit is the color. I picked up some Trigun Stampede bag clips, and luckily I got Vash. I did pick up another one and open that one and got a character that I'm not as familiar with. I was hoping that I would get Nicholas D. Woodwolf because he's my second favorite character other than Vash in Trigun. I have finally finished watching the original Trigun, so I plan on watching the Trigun Stampede soon. Really like Vash's design in Trigun Stampede. I just love like the direction they took for the hair. It is a little bit different, but Vash is just precious, so I'm sure he's going to be just as cute in the Stampede version as well as the original. And I like how he loves donuts and kind of takes on the role that he does in the show. I was lucky enough to meet the voice actor at a convention a few months ago, and I got to have him sign one of my pieces of Vash. So one of the ones that I did in my sketchbook, where I have the original Trigun Vash and then the new version. And at that point, I hadn't finished watching the original, so I kind of felt bad, but it was still fun meeting the voice actor and getting him to sign my artwork. I'll have to include that in the video. I will add that afterwards. This is where I'm saying that I'm not using the Sharpie Creative markers for the skin because the colors that were provided were very bright and I didn't really want to use any of those for the skin color. I could have done like pick 3 colors and only use those colors, but I kind of wanted to have something close to his skin color, and plus with his sunglasses you kind of need a media that isn't necessarily opaque so that you can see what you paint underneath the glasses and still give that little hint of color. You could probably do that with paint as well, but since you're not able to do as much blending with the markers, or at least I didn't want to kind of use them how you wouldn't use markers for this first attempt using them. So that's why I decided to use my alcohol markers for the face and the eyes and the sunglasses. And then I did cheat with the hair too, because there's no like brown color in the Sharpie Creative markers, so I did use my alcohol markers for the underside, the shaved part of his hair. I did use the markers, as you'll see later on, for the hair and then the rest of his outfit. Let me know if you prefer the original or Vash the Trigun Stampede, which is your favorite, or if you like both of them. I really like the little cat that shows up occasionally in different episodes. The black cat, he kind of reminds me of the black cat in Dragon Ball as well. He's just so cute. So I'll have to try drawing him one time, and then of course the cat from Dragon Ball as well. These ones I actually like a little bit better than the Posca markers. For me, they go on a lot easier, not as streaky or lift up the paper, but I'm also using a mixed media paper, so that may have also contributed to them working a little bit better than the other attempts that I've used my Posca markers, and they kind of like destroy the paper that I was using them on. And Didn't really like that. You still get a little bit of lifting up of the paper, but it's not as bad. I was gonna do this orange color for the darker areas. I decided later on that I don't really like that contrast. I would have preferred a little bit of a darker yellow for the shadows, so I end up at the very end just covering it up completely. So I don't really do a lot of shading with the Sharpie markers just because I don't really have multiple different shades of the same color, which kind of limits what I can do. So the shading is going to be the maximum on the face, and then I don't really have much shading for the rest of the piece, but I feel it still turned out good. And this pink color is not necessarily the same as Vash's jacket, but that was the only pink color in the Sharpie markers, so that's why I chose to use this one. And then the red was supposed to be for like the shadows as well. Doesn't necessarily look like shadows, we'll just say it's a pattern. I was also hoping that they would have another like darker gray, but they had this gray color, but they didn't have a darker shade of gray, and then the next darkest shade would be black, and I didn't really want to add the black for the shadows for the shirt either, so I just left this one as it is as well. I could have used my gouache paint to mix up a shade to put on top of the markers, but I felt like that was a little bit cheating since I already cheated a little bit by using the alcohol markers on the skin. Right now we're using the Emote fine liners, and I like how these ones lay down. I used this brown color to make it have a little bit of a softer look. It was still fun doing the eyes, so this is real-time footage of me. Sometimes I like have to stop and be like, okay, do I want this? Do I want the other thing? On this side I actually did the undercut with the fine liner, so that's why it looks a little bit different than the other side of his undercut, like the shaved portion, but I still think it looks good. And like I mentioned at the end, I didn't film this portion of me painting the gouache, but I mixed up this blue color, the light blue, to have like a gradient to go from this darker blue all the way to this lighter blue. For the background, I was originally going to have his hands behind his head, but I was having trouble with the mechanical arm looking right. You can't really see my outline because I kind of erased as much as I could have, lifted as much of the colored pencil that is erasable before painting this, but I wasn't really liking it, and because of the colors options that I had for the Sharpie Creative markers, I didn't really want to try that out, so I went ahead and pretended that he's just going in for a big hug. I feel like Vash would definitely be a good person to get a hug from. And I really like the white pen. I can see myself using this white pen for doing the extra details in my other pieces that I use with my alcohol markers for the like white highlights. It went on great in this piece. Sometimes when I'm using the white gel pen, it doesn't stand out as much. Might be using the pen incorrectly, but this particular Sharpie Creative marker works great. Let me know if you've tried the Sharpie Creative markers, what you think, or if it's something that you would be interested in trying. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.